janmaithunādi gṛhamedhī sukham tuccham kandu yanen karo yoriva dukkha dukkhaṃ trupyanti nahakrupana bahudukkhavadā kanduti vanamanasījam visahita dhīra. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupada. Sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve and itch. Gṛhamedhīs, so-called grihasthas, who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this teaching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is a source of distress. The Krupanas, the fools, who are just the opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are dhīra, however, who are sober and who tolerate this teaching, are not subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals. Purport by Śrīla Prabhupada. Materialists think that the sexual indulgence is the greatest happiness in this material world, and therefore they make elaborate plans to satisfy their senses, especially the genitals. This is generally found everywhere, and especially found in the Western world, where there are regular arrangements to satisfy sex life in different ways. Actually, however, this has not made anyone happy. Even the hippies, who have given up all the materialistic comforts of their fathers and grandfathers, cannot give up the sensational happiness of sex life. Such persons are described here as Krupanas, misers. The human form of life is a great asset, for in this life one can fulfill the goal of existence. Unfortunately, however, because of the lack of education and culture, people are victimized by the false happiness of sex life. Prahlāda Mahārāja therefore advises one not to be misled by this civilization of sense gratification, and especially not by sex life. Rather, one should be sober, avoid sense gratification, and be Krishna conscious. The lusty person, who is compared to a foolish miser, never gets happiness by sense gratification. The influence of material nature is very difficult to surpass. But as stated by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, Mamevade prapadyante mayametam taranti te. If one voluntarily submits to the lotus feet of Krishna, he can save very easily. In reference to the low-grade happiness of sex life, Jamunacharya says in this connection, Jadavadi mama cheta Krishna padaravindi nava nava rasho dhamanyudyata rantum asit tadavadi vata nari sangami smartyamani bhavati mukha vikara sustu nishti vanancha. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought, and my lips curl with distaste. Jamunacharya had formerly been a great king who enjoyed sexual happiness in various ways. But since he later engaged himself in the service of the Lord, he enjoyed spiritual bliss, hated to think of sex life. If sexual thoughts came to him, he would spit with disgust. Prahlāda Mahārāja says here, the sex life is compared to the rubbing of two hands to relieve and itch. Gṛhamedhīs, so-called grihasthas, who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this teaching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is source of distress. The Krupanas, the fools, who are just the opposite of Brahmanas, are not satisfied with repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are dhīra, however, who are sober and tolerate this eating, are not subjected to the suffering of fools and rascals. Very important statements are given by Prahlāda Mahārāja, because he is an eminent Mahājana. Mahājana ji ko isi satyamani. One must follow the footsteps of Mahājana. Mahājana ji na gatasya pantha, and must accept the statements given by Mahājanas, the very, very conclusive statements down. Here, Prahlāda Mahārāja says how the sex life, which is compared to the rubbing of two hands, to relieve on each, is tuccham, very, very insignificant, he says. But the Krupanas, those who are not Brahmanas, opposite to Brahmanas, the fools, they want to get such satisfaction, such happiness by enjoying sex. They are known as gṛhamedhīs or so-called grihasthas. They have no spiritual knowledge. For them this eating, that means this sex enjoyment, the greatest platform of happiness. But in actuality, it is not happiness at all. It is the source of various distresses. Therefore, Prahlāda Mahārāja says, one who can tolerate this eating, he will be dhīra, sober person. Dhīra means sober, will not be disturbed at any condition of life, any circumstances. Is dhīra, is undisturbed. And he will never be subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals, he says. Yes, this is very important instruction, and one must take lessons from it. Take it seriously. We are spirit souls, eternal part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is Satchid Anandamaya, who is full of pleasure. So as a soul, we want pleasure. But here in this material world, there is no pleasure, no happiness at all, because it is dukkhalaya. It is a house filled with miseries, dukkhalaya. How can you get sukha or happiness in a house which is filled with miseries? As one cannot get water in the desert, similarly one cannot get any pleasure or happiness here in this material world. Only suffering, only unhappiness and distress. But these gṛhamedhīs are Krupanas, so-called grihasthas, who have no spiritual knowledge. They think that the greatest pleasure here, happiness here is to enjoy sex life. Prahlāda Mahārāja here compares that pleasure with the eating, with the rubbing of two hands to relieve each. You understand? And there is itching sensation. In the beginning, it is very pleasurable to eat. Eating. But at the long run, eventually, what will you get? You'll get restless. You understand? Because that there will be great source, great that eats, there's a grave of pain every moment. You understand? That is the outcome of this pleasure, itching sensation. So one must take lessons and learn this thing. In the beginning, it seems to be pleasurable. Is source of all distress in the long run. In Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Lord Krishna has said about that, this happiness. 3 types of happiness. Tamsik sukha, rāsik sukha, and sattvic sukha. You understand? Tamsik, rāsik, sattvic. According to 3 modes of middle nature. You understand? Tamsik, rāsik, sattvic. The sattvic sukha, that means the happiness derived from sattva guna, is to be considered best. And that sukha in the beginning is distressful, but in the long run it is happiness. But tamsik sukha, rāsik sukha, in the beginning there's some happiness and pleasure, but in the long run they are distressed or miserable, giving much pain. Krishna said that thing. Especially the sex life, enjoyment of sex life, as Prahlāda Mahārāja says, gṛhamedhī sukham tuccham, is very, very insignificant. No happiness at all. Though it apparently seems to be pleasurable. This comparison is very appropriate comparison. This rubbing of 2 hands to relieve each. And my revered spiritual master, Śrīla Prabhupada, here gives, generally this is found everywhere, especially found in Western world. But there are regular elements to satisfy sex life in different ways. You understand? Yes, say, even the hippies, those who have given up all the materialistic comforts of their fathers and grandfathers, cannot give up the sensational happiness and sex life. In that world, the stone world, the civilization, my Guru Maharaj says, dog civilization. Dog is such a shameless creature that it enjoys sex on the open road, open day, light, in front of everyone. Shameless creature. Similar in that Western world, they enjoy sex life. In broad daylight, wherever you go, you'll find there is sex is going on. market, in the club, in the arrow, drum, airfield, everything. I have seen it. I cannot look at it. Oh, what is this? It's going on. And they think it, this is civilization. This goes on in the name of civilization. You see. Therefore, my Guru Maharaj said, what sort of civilization? That's civilization. It does and doing some things. And these people are doing here. Huh? Those hippies are doing like that. So they should take lesson from the statements of Prahlāda Mahārāja. How the sort of sukha, happiness, sukham, tuccham, very, very insignificant. Not sukha at all. You understand? Here, quoting in reference to the low-grade happiness of sexual life, Jamunacharya says, Jadavadi mama cheta Krishna padara bindi nava dhama nirdanta tung asit tadavadi vatanari sangame smarjamani bhavati mukha vikara sustu nishthivanancha. Since I have been engaged in transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing a new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit out the thought. My lips curl with distaste. You see? You understand? Atma, the soul, all want pleasure, but which is real pleasure? What is the real pleasure? As Jamunacharya says, engage yourself in the transcendental loving service of Krishna and get pleasure. Ever new pleasure. Ever new pleasure. You see? He gets such pleasure. And if by chance the thought of this sex pleasure enters into mind, he spits at the thought. Mukha vikara sustu nishtivanancha. This is like, spits at it. Nasty. What pleasure it is? No pleasure at all. But the so-called civilized persons here, persons in that civilization, they think this pleasure, that means this sex pleasure is the greatest platform of happiness here of fools and rascals, krupanas. Krupana nyatriptanti bahu dukkha bhāga. Prahlāda Mahārāja. They are getting so much miserable conditions of life. Still they are not satisfied. They are not triptanti, not satisfied. They continue that. All right, this is very nice, we'll go. We'll get pleasure, we'll get pleasure, we'll get pleasure. Getting more and more this, more unhappiness, still not satisfied. Such rascals, groupings. Many instances are there. Who is an intelligent person, a real wise person, she can understand this thing. And he can realize this thing. But those are false rascals, krupanas, they cannot understand this thing. Though they get so much distress and unhappiness out of this sex life. Therefore, Shastra says, not to be attached to such sexual life. Prahlāda Mahārāja gives very nice instruction, very important. This is chapter 9, and already we have discussed in chapter 6 this Prahlāda Mahārāja instructions to his demoniac boyfriends. He says, Kadam priyaya anukampitaya sangam rahasyam rusiransta mantra srotsu tasneya sita sisuna parakharanang anurakta chitta tejat kosaskrut ibehumana karmani lobhad avitrupta kama aupastha jeham bahumanyamana patham virajeta duranta moha. Prahlāda Mahārāja. You understand? Huh? You know this verse? You don't understand. You can't understand. Prahlāda Mahārāja says, the so-called gṛhamedhī, here he says gṛhamedhī. Such so-called grahasthas who have no spiritual knowledge, who are very much attached to the sex life, to their wives. You understand? Getting pleasure from them. They say, oh, my wife, oh. Her smile, so nice, very sweet words. How can I forget? Katham priyaya anukampita. Sangam rahasyam cha rusiransta mantra. How can I forget all these things? Again, I have small children. He has just started speaking. You understand? It is very so nice to hear. The small child has started speaking. How can I forget all these things? How can I give up all these things? And that's why she has come to give me two types of pleasure. One is aupastha and ajeyam. Pleasure to genital, pleasure to the tongue. She'll prepare nice dishes for me and feed me. Just sit beside me and give nice dishes, having a light. Please take some more, please take some more. Gives pleasure to my palate. And at night, pleasure to the genital. Upastham. How can I give up all these things and become a vairagi, renunciate? All these sadhus and śāstra say, become vairagi. How can I become vairagi? I can't give up all these things. You understand? He says, Prahlāda Mahārāja, this instruction, do you understand? And that's what Prahlāda Mahārāja says here, this janmaipunādi gṛhamedhī. And you'll find many instances are there in this Srimad-Bhāgavatam, which is the essence of all Vedic literature. This association with women is very, very dangerous thing. It's detrimental to this spiritual advancement. You understand? In path of devotional service. Lord Krishna has this instruction to Uddhava in 11th canto, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Strinam strisangyanam sangam tyaktva duratatmam kheme vivikta asina chintayan nama adandrita natadhasya bhavet klesho bandhasthanya prasangataha josi sangha tatha punsa tatha tatsangi sangata. Lord Krishna says this thing to Uddhava. Those who are sore persons here, Prahlāda Mahārāja said, dhīra. Visaheta, dhīra. And a dhīra person, sore person, he can tolerate this itching sensation, this urge of sex. You understand? And Lord Krishna says, one who is dhīra, one who is a conscientious person, intelligent, wise person, he should give up the association of women or the persons who are not attached to women. Trisangi. You understand? And they should sit down at a nice place, sacred place, that there is no such influence, and just meditate on it. You understand? And get pleasure. If someone associates with women or the persons who are too much attached to women, they get manifold miseries. And they are too much tied up, bound up with this material sansar world. You understand? This bondage, little bondage is very strong there, very tight, will be tighter and tighter. You understand? And the unhappiness or misery that is derived from this association of women or the persons attached to women, greatest. You understand? Greatest unhappiness, greatest misery. Bhagavan Krishna says, such type of unhappiness and misery cannot be achieved from any other source, any other way. This is the greatest. In Srimad-Bhāgavatam 11th canto, there is Urvashi Pururava episode. An episode known as Urvashi Pururava episode. You understand? You don't know. Urvashi, a prostitute in heavenly planet. You understand? Urvashi. Her name is Urvashi. Prostitute. Heavenly planet. Sargalok. You understand? Nice maiden. Very beautiful. Look at it. Pururava was the emperor here in this material world. Very powerful emperor. And by dint of his uncommon valor, he could become Indra. Do you know Indra? Yes. The king of the heavenly planet, the demigods. So when he became Indra, Urvashi came to him, thus enchanted him. So he was attracted by Urvashi and fell into love with Urvashi, enjoyed sex with Urvashi. You understand? Many years, you see. Still, he was not satisfied. At last, that Urvashi gave him up, just kicked him and left him. And Urvashi was just leaving, going out. At that time, that Pururava was running after her like a madman, naked. Like a naked madman, he was running after her and saying, Aijai, oh mine, beloved, I cannot live, I'll die if you just leave me. You see, you are just saying like that. But at last, that Urvashi gave him good lesson. You understand? That Urvashi has said, why will you die? It's not good. Die? Do you know? These women are like tigress. Brukaime, she says. Bruka means tigress. You understand? This tigress will suck your blood, kill you. Don't be attached to tigress. And don't kill yourself. You live. Why you live? Die. In 11th canto, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, this has been stated. Very nice. Statements are there of Urvashi and Pururava. Then Pururava came to senses. You understand? He says, he himself has said, he has admitted, Aho me moha vistara kama kasmala chetasaha Divya gruhita kanthasya nayu khandai me smruda. Pururava says, so many years I enjoyed Urvashi. I just embraced her. I am so much deluded that how many times the sun has risen and sun has set during that time. So many years. I cannot say. So immersed. I cannot understand. I cannot say it. You see. So much immersed. Ahom atma sammoho janatma jositan krita. Kridamrugas chakravarti naradeva sikhamani. You are saying, Pururava was saying, I was Naradeva Chudamani, Sikhamani. That means the emperor of emperors. You understand? This emperor, because he became the king of the demigods, Indra. So said Naradeva Sikhamani. That means Rachudamani, Samrat, is emperor of emperors. But I became just a toy dog with the hand of a woman. You understand? Alas! This is very, very amazed. I am very amazed. Very wonderful. How I forgot my position. You see? Such is the outcome of this attachment to woman. You understand? He has said, Kutastyanubhavasya tejai sattvam va jannagacham striyam janti kharavat padatarita. You understand? That Pururava says, as a Hias runs after an Sias, a Sias. You understand? Himalayas. Can you understand? A Melas runs after a Himalayas. You understand? For sex. The Himalayas is running and the Melas is falling. The female was, what does she do? She just kicks with her hind legs. And the Melas, still, that Melas runs after her. Kharavat padatari. You understand? Similarly, Urvashi was kicking and Pururava was running it. You understand? Such thing happened. So, now he was realizing, Pururava was realizing, I am such a great person, great master, the king of the heaven, but where is my such greatness? Where is my strength? Where is my controlling capacity? Now I have been kicked by Urvasi, like a male ass is kicked by Sriyas, female ass. You understand? This. Kim vidyaya kim tapasa kim tyagena srutena va? Kim viviktena maunena strivirjasya manahrutam. He says, very important. Kim vidyaya kim tapasa kim tyagena srutena va? Kim viviktena maunena strivirjasya manahrutam. If some man's mind will be attracted towards a woman, so everything, all good qualities of that man will be destroyed. If he will be a very learned person, if he may be a great ascetic, or if he may be a very great renunciator, viragi, or if he may be a very great pandit, Vedic pandit, or he may be meditating on a lonely place. But what value is there? If that person is attracted towards, if his mind is attracted towards a woman, it's all valueless. His learning, his austerity, his penance, his renunciation, his scholarship, his meditation, all valueless. You understand? He says, Sevato Varshapugan me Upasya Savang Natrupyatyatma Bhukamo Banhira Huti Virjabha. He says, if you pour ghee and a blazing fire, fire will not be extinguished. It will blaze more and more. Similarly, Gurudeva says, many years I enjoyed Guruvasi. I just kissed her. Still, my unsatiated, this lust is not satisfied. You understand? And similar statement you'll find in 9th canto, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam also. Devadani and Jajati episode. The same thing. Jajati Mahārāja said. He enjoyed so many years Devadani. Still wasn't satisfied. Therefore he just said, Nadatu kama kamanam upabhogena samyati Havisha kusmavatmi bhuya bhavi vaddhati. He says, if you just go on giving pleasure to your senses, the senses will not be satisfied. As if you pour ghee in a blazing fire, the fire cannot be extinguished. You understand? So many things are there. That's all right. That, he says, Indriyani pramatine harantyapi jyotir mono. The senses are so strong, obstinate. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said same thing. Here, Narada Muni says same thing. These senses, material senses, are so strong, so obstinate, that even they attract, they drag the mind of a sannyasi. You understand? What to speak of others? You understand? Therefore in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Indriyani pramadini haranti prashamani tanu sarvani sanjamya. Control this wicked mind and sense. First thing, if you are so eager to make advancement in this spiritual path, otherwise you cannot get. Then he said, Nannagni pramadhanama kritakumbhasma kumar. Narada Muni says to Yudhishthira Maharaj, Sudham api rahojaya adanyat javadar takrup. Human is like a fire pot. Fire pot. You understand? Huh? Fire. A pot containing fire. You understand? Human is like a fire pot. And man is like a ghee pot. You understand? If you put ghee pot with fire pot, what will happen? Ghee will be melted. Isn't it? He says this thing. Similarly, a man should not be with a woman in a solitary place. Even Sudangapi rahojayat anyata javatattaku. Even you should not be with your own daughter, grown-up daughter, in a lonely place. You understand? Because the senses are so strong, so obstinate. They attract the mind of a sannyasi. What to speak about that? You understand? It's very difficult to tolerate or withstand this urge of sex. But if someone like Jamunacharya will take to this path of spiritualism, devotional service, accepting a bona fide spiritual master, and just chant Hare Krishna and his guidance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, will be generated. You understand? Harinam Sankirtan will give you powerful words. Otherwise, one cannot tolerate.